Ladies and gentlemen, it's profile time. And it's one of my favourite defenders of all time. It's Big Sol Campbell.
Solzy!
Come on!
Yay!
Yes! Perhaps the only Dean Windass Hall of Fame entry who's played for all of your teams.
Yeah. He only played a few times for Newcastle, but he did play for them, didn't he?
Yeah, player's a strong word.
Did he never end in slide tackle when he was playing for
No,
Newcastle?
it was for England.
That was for
I was
England.
over England.
Against Croatia, I think it was in that.
We don't have a running track at St James's Park.
That's true.
He was born on the 18th of September 1974.
7 years after the Summer of Love.
Get in there.
Maths.
Solid. He always seemed cool, calm and collected.
Okay.
On the pitch.
He's one of the more thoughtful footballers we featured, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Certainly in England, which is an anomaly.
Indeed. He grew up in quite a rough part of London.
From Stratford, didn't he?
Plaistow. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, which is very close.
East London, yeah.
His parents were very concerned that he would get caught up in petty crime and one thing and another, and he remembers them being very strict with him. And as a result, he remembers spending a lot of time, being very careful what he did. He said that I became insular because at home there was no space to grow or to evolve. Everything.
No space to grow?
Did he
keep him like a little box?
Did he not have like 9 brothers?
Well, I was going to say, sorry, I should have said he has, I think, 12 siblings.
He was the youngest as well, and I can't imagine Sol Campbell as being the youngest of any because he's so massive.
Yeah, but he is a very sort of quiet, thoughtful guy, so you can see how you might become quite introspective in that sort of...
It's like trying to imagine Bruce Forsyth young.
Yeah,
it's just never happened.
Or Michael Parkinson.
Yeah, never happened. Right.
So
or Charlie Adam.
That's a good one, Jim. He said everything, is very, very small. People don't realise how that affects you as a kid. You want to be outside where you have space and you can express yourself. So my expression was football. He was a pupil at the FA School of Excellence at Lillyshaw. Remember that?
Yeah.
Which the FA sensibly closed in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Thank God. I mean, where would football be now if they'd kept that open?
We've made one Sol Campbell, that is enough.
Yeah. There are a few other players that came from there. Jermaine Defoe, Michael Owen, Joe Cole, Jamie Carragher, Scott Parker,
Alan Smith as well, the Leeds Alan Smith. He did.
I think Andy Cole did as well. But, it produced some players that went on to play top-level football in England.
The reason I presumed that Sol Campbell was from that area is because he started off as a striker for West Ham's youth team.
Yeah, he did.
Actually, he was a striker. That's even harder than imagining him young.
Yeah. He was big, powerful guy though, and he had a hell of a turn of pace. So
he'd break forward, which Mark is going to come on to.
Oh yes,
and he's going to drag it out about 10 minutes in a bit.
Yeah. I tell you what though, imagine if
look at how happy you are.
If he was playing up front. Just stick a cross in. Yeah. He had a crashing header on him.
Yeah, crashing is right.
He really did. So as you say, he went to West Ham and started up front, and then he moved to Tottenham Hotspur, where he found his feet at centre back. I think it's fair to say he was a very popular figure at Spurs, very important player making his debut in '92. Went on to establish himself as one of Spurs' best players at the time, and was a real rock at the heart of their defence. Whilst at Spurs, he won the first of his many England caps in May '96. That was just before Euro '96, where he was selected for the England squad. Came on against Scotland in the 2-0 win. Forget that, don't you?
Strange to think that. Yeah. It's like people never think that David May actually scored in the game that Cantona fly kicked the Crystal Palace fan.
That's right, he did.
David May scored. How gutted would you if you're David May? What's done that before?
It was 1-0, wasn't it? Was it?
I can't remember.
It was 1-0.
Yeah, the result's irrelevant though.
I think so. Over the next few years, going on from '96, he would become a regular in the England side and was given the captain's armband, becoming the second youngest player to captain England after Bobby Moore. Quite some achievement
Not
there.
bad.
I think it's safe to say he was a powerful and dominating type of centre-back.
Oh yeah, he was brilliant.
Yeah, he really was.
Certainly for Arsenal, in particular.
Which we'll come on to in a sec.
He just had everything. He was powerful,
just
he was
solid.
quick, he knew when to
keen eye for a tackle.
Yeah, he was one of those sort of, when the chips were down, proper like brick wall style players where it's just nothing's going past him despite whatever sort of onslaught is coming forward. And, for England, he was...
But he
pulled us out some holes.
But he was quite a calming influence, I thought. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's exactly how he managed to be so dominant, because you'd play at his pace almost, it would seem.
Was he the only defender? And of course, this would have been at Spurs. Like Ian Wright said, I just couldn't wind him up. Because Ian Wright would be right in their ear and giving it. Sol Campbell would just blank.
And he was pacey as well. You saw always break forward.
Oh, when Campbell... you know.
Once he got going,
It was a bit like Bowser in Super Mario.
Yeah.
Whoa, he's gone. You know, once he's there, he was and still is massive. You know, in a good sense.
He had a large backside.
He
Let's not
has
forget.
got.
I mean, we're going to have to probably induct that separately.
there's a lot of junk in that trunk.
Yeah.
He was and still is massive. Come in.
Yeah. It's what we've said before. It's where he keeps his sort of jet fuel,
Yeah.
isn't it? In his massive arse.
But he was a real athlete as well.
Yeah.
Incredible figure. Fine figure of a man.
Well, I mean, depending on what you guys said about him being solid, I mean, along with Sylvain Distin at Portsmouth, he was just so reliable.
Yeah.
He loved having him back.
Reliable is certainly another
There
word.
was matches where it was just all hands to the pump, and it was almost McGrath-esque. Some of the like headers he'd pull off
But also,
out of nowhere.
some of the like if people would break through and he would chase him, that last ditch slide tackle,
Yeah.
and it was clean.
Yeah.
Seldom would he give away a foul.
If he was chasing me, I'd shit a brick. He's massive. He's massive.
Just take the ball.
Yeah.
Can you imagine it? He's chasing you. You're trying to wind him up. Just this nothing. Just bearing down on you. Terrifying.
T1000.
Yeah.
You kick him and just rebuild himself.
He was a starter for England at World Cup '98, of course. And I think the moment that most people remember that he was involved with was the disallowed goal against Argentina.
Tragic.
Which, to be fair, I think it was rightly disallowed. But it was such a shame because his celebration, it was so genuine, euphoric.
It was primal.
Yeah,
I know that it probably should have been disallowed, but my head just can't marry that up. It just seems so sad. It just seems so wrong.
I remember exactly where I was when it happened. I was in Churchill's pub in Hartlepool, and somebody threw a glass at the telly.
Yeah.
When it was disallowed.
Let's try and get the referee.
Yeah,
Maybe it was Woodgate.
For the younger viewers and our listeners, it was World Cup '98, second round. And
Argentina.
Campbell scored a header against Argentina, but it's disallowed. But not only
5 minutes to go, and it was 2-2.
The referee let them take the free kick quickly, and all the England players were celebrating by the corner flag.
Yeah.
It was.
And who got back to make a wonderful tackle?
It was Darren Anderson.
Good lad.
It was a brilliant tackle.
It was brilliant. It was Campbell-esque. In fact.
It really was.
We make him properly down at Pompey, all right?
That's true. And then he had another disallowed goal later in his England career versus Portugal.
But what about the goal he scored in World Cup 2002?
Well, in a minute.
Okay.
Respects the running order.
Back at Spurs.
When are we going to do Soul Man, the DVD that he brought out about his life? Do you remember that?
Did he do that?
He made his own film about him, and he just came off as a bit of an egomaniac.
Well, that's my DVD of the week.
Soul Man.
Back at Spurs, he captained the club to success in the League Cup, beating Leicester City in the final. But it was in 2001 that Spurs fans will remember his actions the most. When his contract at Spurs has come to an end, he was mulling offers from abroad or improved contract from Spurs, and he went to Arsenal on a free.
Yeah, I lost a bit of respect for him for that, actually.
Did you?
Yeah, I think so, because...
You know what? I quite like that decision. I felt he'd made the right choice.
I like the idea of him mulling it over with like a glass of Hennessy just in his smoking jacket.
Why Hennessy?
on his chaise longue.
He's quite young, but old head on young shoulders. So yes, of course, he went to Arsenal, where he would experience great success. And his first season with Arsenal, I thought he struggled a bit at the start. And it was actually the game away to Spurs at White Hart Lane.
The furore around it was massive.
Incredible. Well, Judas, that's what they all called him, which is an obvious one, but I've never seen it said and done so aggressively.
They called him quite a lot worse than that.
Yes. Well, I wasn't going to go down that route. But
some of those people can't come to football anymore.
And rightfully so. He went to Arsenal in his first season. I think it was. They won the league and cup. Him and Tony Adams at the back, Jimbo. You
or Martin Keown.
Yeah.
How much would you give? You'd give your right bollock for that. Now,
I'd have them now.
He's a free agent.
Yeah,
he is. He's still.
Come on. Get him on that plane.
Get him on that tube
to City Airport.
Get him on that Piccadilly line.
Now then, in 2002, he went to the World Cup with England and scored his only international goal against Sweden in the opening game, crashing again.
Yeah. Do you remember the Barry Davies commentary?
Oh, remind me.
Clean header, bang.
Classic Davies.
Yeah, classic Davies.
You see, that's why Barry Davies commentated on England, Sol Campbell at the World Cup. Yesterday. That's all I can say.
From a D-back corner.
From a D-back corner. Pete Donaldson. What more do you want from a profile?
Nice hat. What?
Sorry. So he was fantastic in that tournament.
And I'll tell you, let him down.
Who?
Danny Mills at the
Danny-
other end when was it Kenneth Anderson scored?
Kenneth Anderson.
Yeah, he scored the equaliser.
Wow.
Yeah.
He almost redeemed himself against Argentina.
Yeah, he played well.
England had a
It was
really solid
brilliant in that
defence.
game. Absolutely magnificent.
England had a
second
really
half.
solid defence that tournament, to be fair. And Campbell was voted into the World Cup 2002 All-Star team. And since 1990, they vote on a World Cup All-Star team, and he's only one of 3 Englishmen to have made that team. Do you know who the others are?
No.
Gaza in 1990,
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
John Terry in 2006.
Wow.
Did have a good tournament though.
Yeah, fair enough, yeah.
So only one of 3. In 2003-2004, Campbell was a big part of Arsenal's Invincibles, going a whole Premier League season unbeaten.
But knocked out both the cups.
Well, Invincibles was a term that was put on them by the press.
absolutely,
It's like,
Yeah.
to be fair to
Get to the
that,
Champions
but,
League.
yeah, get to the Champions
Get
League.
to the Champions League.
Kolo Toure, his partner in defence.
Yeah, God.
You have him back as well?
No, he was an absolute liability towards at the end of his
Sorry,
time
have you
at
forgotten
Arsenal.
who's there now?
Oh yeah, no. All's forgiven. Just come back and lay down on the edge of the box if you want. That'll do.
Just don't actively score own goals.
Yeah.
And then we'll build from there.
Yeah, I mean, because some of these guys, it's just like they've put a load of sausage meat on a remote control car and they're driving it around from the stands.
My dad.
That Giroud.
Is that the sausage train?
I can remember watching an Arsenal game with my dad, who's not massively into football. He does like it, and him saying, looking at Koscielny going, he's a boy. He's like a boy.
He's like a dinosaur cockerel boy.
Yeah, he does. Good description. Now, 2005-2006 season, a bit of a funny time. There was obviously the sort of bad news when he had a breakdown against West Ham when they
left at half time.
He did leave at half time, but there was, I think Robert Pires sort of said he's having a lot of personal problems, and many sort of wondered if he'd come back from such a setback, but he did. To some applause, he played in the semi-final and the final of the Champions League.
Yeah.
Scored in the final.
Scored another great header in the final of the Champions
Clean
League.
header, bang.
It's gutting for me that Campbell never got his header in a final. Or header in a really, really big game that went on to actually really sort of mean something.
Well, Big Yen sorted that, didn't he?
Oh yes.
Well, they were down to 10 men when Campbell scored.
Big Yen sorted that. Yes.
Big man Yen.
Oh, I see what you mean. Sorry, yeah. And Arsenal lost, but they defended so well, and
they didn't concede a goal for ages.
Yeah,
I think it's still a record.
But I'd never been more convinced.
No, I mean throughout the run of games.
Oh, sorry, but
I'd never been more convinced that Barcelona were going to win.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I remember
Larson changed the game, as we said in his profile.
Yeah. But he was excellent. That was the last game of his Arsenal career. After that, he went to Germany for the World Cup in 2006. Only made one appearance as a sub, but that was enough to make him the first England player to have played in 6 successive tournaments.
Great stuff. Steve McLaren sorted that a couple of years later.
He did, yeah. And now we've made it. This is where he joined Portsmouth.
Yes. Yes.
Him and Limvoy at the back.
Initially,
for a bit,
and then Distan.
Massive, just 3 beasts.
Yeah, and big David James in the stick as well. So solid.
Yeah,
because James.
So to speak.
Oi.
Yeah.
What would you do for a bit of that now?
Oh, have it all over. Yeah. The thing is, though, Sol Campbell will never come to Portsmouth again because we still owe him about £2 million. Yeah, so
image rights, I know. I mean,
1.7 million. I think it was.
Is it? Yeah, in
not
bonuses
2 million.
and stuff. Yeah. But I mean, Sol Campbell is the captain who lifted the FA Cup for Portsmouth. You know, for the first time in 70 years. So he's got his legacy at Portsmouth is assured. He's a legend there.
Absolutely.
And rightly so. They still sing a song about him now. When Sol went up to lift the FA Cup, we were there.
Lovely.
Yeah.
We're regretting it now because it ruined us for years to come.
Do you think
we won't be here. We won't be here.
He then went to Notts County under the stewardship of Sven, quite surprisingly. I don't know if they chant his name there. He only played one game.
Yeah.
But what a game it was, I'd imagine. I think he probably...
You haven't bothered checking, have you?
He lasted one match.
Was he any good?
Yeah.
Okay.
As I recall, he didn't have a lot to do, did he?
He's in League Two.
I just think he thought, I'm better than this.
Yeah.
Sod this for a game of soldiers.
There was a lot of money sloshing around that team.
Yeah.
But the money didn't actually exist, did it?
Yeah, it was the idea of money, wasn't it?
Then he went back playing for Arsenal again. And then
It's lovely to have him back.
Yeah.
It was so nice.
He
played quite a lot of games for injury and stuff as well.
Let him say it.
Come on.
I'd have had him on that played for 2010.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
If Jamie Carragher could have gone, well, he did go.
Yeah.
And then he went to Newcastle. Pete, you got anything to say about it?
He goes out. I think he was going out with a girl up there. So
Was he?
fine.
That's why he went there.
I think that's why he went there.
It was convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you have him there with Philippe Albert?
Well, it's one of those things where he did
Peacock.
sort of spend a lot of time sort of chasing lasses around. He sort of he had this big thing that he wanted to be
Friendliest.
ingratiated with high society. You know, he wanted to be at like exclusive parties and stuff, and he wanted to hang out with like property developers and a higher class of people that possibly he didn't grow up with to a certain extent. So he was definitely a climber.
Yeah. Did he go to Tino's bar? Tino Espria's bar? Was it Espria's bar?
What do you mean?
Or Les Ferdinand's bar?
What, Shearer's bar?
Shearer's bar.
Stop saying playing.
They've not all got bars.
Scott Sellers' bar.
Cellar. It's a cellar.
There's Denver Bar should have a bar.
He should do.
Denver Bar.
The Scott Sellers.
Cellar.
Yeah.
Is it only Alan Shearer's got a bar?
Yeah,
They don't all get bars.
No,
It's
Tino
not like part
planned
of the
one, I think.
signing
But I
on
don't know
fee.
whether he
Tino
started.
planned one.
I don't know whether he's done it yet.
But he legged it from Darlington, so he can't come back.
Anyway, we've gone completely off the boil here. We should wrap up the Sol Campbell profile. Currently a free agent, but I think he's going to be doing his coaching badges.
So any clubs listening, do get in touch with him.
Get
We'll have him
involved.
at the Ramble.
Yeah.
I think we definitely would. But one of my favourite England players, without a doubt. And the heart of the defence of that incredible Arsenal team. A true Premiership great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sol
Absolutely.
Campbell, ladies and
Come on,
gentlemen. Come on. Clap it up.